Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today, inshallah, we are going to complete our talk about the public goods. In the last class, we had an idea about the public goods, and we said that we have 4 types of goods. The public good, the pure public goods, which has the following characteristics: non-excludable, non-rival. And we have a pure private goods, which has or have the two characteristics like rival and excludable. And in between we have impure goods. Sometimes we can see a good would have rival and non-excludable, excludable and non-rival. And we had some examples related to these points. Today we are gonna study the optimal private and optimal public goods equilibrium. Okay, so the optimal provision of a private goods and optimal provision of public goods. In general, we mentioned that the public equilibrium or efficiency occurs when the marginal social benefits equals the marginal social cost. This is for the public goods, or the optimality for the public goods. Okay? I will come back to the private goods, and then we will go to the public. To understand the either optimality provision of private goods, we have the following example here. Consider a private good like ice cream. The figure here shows the demand for ice cream for both or for 2 persons. Assuming the alternative here for ice cream and the substitute good for ice cream here is cookies, each purchased or sold at $1 each here. So, in this example here, or this diagram, this is the demand curve for Mr. Ben. Here's the price of ice cream and the quantity demanded of ice cream. This is the demand curve. It's a downward sloping for Ben. As the price at 1 here, he can buy, or as the price is 5, he can buy 1 unit. As the price goes down for 4, for instance, he can buy 2 units. And so this represents the downward sloping of the demand curve for ice cream for Ben. Someone else, Mr. Jerry, he also has a demand curve, an individual demand curve, downward sloping as well, but it's above the, below the demand curve for a bin. Now we are gonna derive what? The demand curve for the community. Under the simple economy here, we assume that we have only 2 persons, Ben and Jerry. And we are going to derive the demand curve for both. Here, as you see, at price here 3. This is for Jerry. He can consume or buy at this unit, at this quantity, and at the same price here at 3, Ben, let us assume here he can buy 1 unit, and for Ben he can buy 2 units. For the community as a whole, at this point, at this price, at the 3, the total quantity purchased equals 3. The summation of the quantity purchased by Jerry and Ben, 1 plus 2 equals 3. At price equals 3 here. Okay? Here we're talking about a competitive price, which means the price in the whole market is fixed. A similar price, okay? So, and at a price equals 2 here, what do you see? At a price equals 2, as the price goes down to 2, Jerry can buy larger amount here. Let us assume it's 3, and for Ben, he can buy, let us assume 5 units here. So how much is the total here? Should be 8. So we can derive the demand curve for the community for Jerry and Ben by connecting these points here. This is the total demand curve for the community. Here is, or the marginal social benefits, as we explained before. So adding up Ben's and Jerry individual demands at each price gives society demand. Okay, so this is the whole demand curve for the community, the marginal social, which represents the marginal social benefits. Okay, demand for Ben plus demand for Jerry. Okay, what about the marginal? What about supply here? Here's the marginal social cost. This is the market supply curve associated with producing ice cream. Where is the social optimal here? Social optimal occurs at the marginal social cost equals the marginal social benefits. At this point, this is the equilibrium price to the same price for Jerry and Ben, for Ahmed, for Ali, the same price, and this is the social optimal quantity here. Okay? So, leading to a competitive equilibrium at 2, at the price equals 2 here, Ben and Jerry consume different quantities. مظبوط? They buy different quantity here. At 2, Ben purchase at this point, at this quantity, and Jerry buys this quantity. The quantity total here is the quantity purchased by Jerry and Ben. This is the social equilibrium point. تمام? Let's go to something else. As you see here, in this figure, as the price adjusted, each person change his quantity consumed or purchased. Hey, as the price goes down, each of them, it change his quantity consumed of ice cream. Let's go to something else. Let's see market price. Okay, here for the private good, consumers demand different quantities at the same market price, which is 2 here in this example. We can also represent this relationship mathematically. Ben has preferences over cookies and ice cream. What about the preferences? Do you remember the utility, the total utility, the indifference curve, which means there is preferences for or to buy different bundles of goods. I will come back to the idea here about the total utility, marginal utility, and the consumer optimality or the consumer equilibrium. How can the consumer maximizes his benefits or his satisfaction when he consumes different bundles of goods? Okay, using the marginal utility theory. Here we have 2 persons in the community. Utility for the total utility for, this is the total utility for Ben when he consumes cookies and ice cream. And here, as for Jerry, the total utility for Jerry when he consumes cookies and ice cream. Here in this example, we assume that we have two persons, we have two products, ice cream and cookies. And we are gonna choose the optimal quantity that they must purchase to maximize their benefits or to maximize their utility, and we will go to the social optimal using the marginal utility. Okay? To understand the idea here we have something says that utility, the total utility maximization requires that each of their indifference curves is tangent to the budget lines for both here. If you remember that when we talk about the consumer equilibrium, we said that the best or the optimal combination for the consumer obtained or occurs when there is a tangency between indifference curve and the budget line here. And what? The tangency point here represents, this is the quantity of x and the quantity of y. Along, or at this point, here, the slope of IC is the marginal rate of substitution. The slope of indifference curve and the budget line here represents the marginal rate of substitution x and y, or x for y. Okay? Let's have a numerical example, and then we will complete our talk about the equilibrium here. Here we have the hypothesis or the assumptions here says that for Ben to achieve the equilibrium, here we have the following condition. It's called the first order condition. Marginal utility for ice cream over the marginal utility for cookies, this is for Ben, must equal the price of ice cream over the price of cookies, which represents the marginal rate of substitution for Ben. How can we understand the idea here? To understand the idea or the first order condition, I will go to a numerical example to understand the idea well. Okay? So let's go to a numerical example here. The question here is that we are talking about a person, and this person have different quantities of x and y, different combinations. Let us here talk about Ben. The quantity here, or the quantities here, represent x and y. Okay? When Ben consumed 0 of x, when Ben consumes 0 units of x, he can obtain 0 total utility. Adding 1 more unit of x, the total utility obtained of x equals 40 utils. Adding 1, what do you see? The total utility increases until 7 here, and okay, and until 8 here. Sorry? Income. The price of x equals 5, the price of y equals 10, income is $45. Okay? Total utility here, if we assume that these are quantities of y, these are the total utility obtained of y. When he consumes 1 unit of y, he can obtain 50 utils of y. 2, 90, 3, 120. Now, we are gonna determine the optimal provision of a private good. How much is the equilibrium quantities of x and y that achieves the optimality for the prior talking about private goods, like ice cream and, this is for, let us assume X is the ice cream and cookies. To determine, or to, yes, to determine the equilibrium, the private provision, the optimal provision of private goods. The optimal provision of private goods. We have two conditions. First order condition and second order condition. First order. Is the marginal utility of X over the price of X must equal the marginal utility of Y over the price of Y. In other way, when the marginal utility of X over the marginal utility of Y must equal the price of X over the price of Y. How? أيوه اعمل ضرب تبادلي توصل لهذا. أيوه يعني to reach لهذا هيك من هذا بنقول هيك marginal utility ضرب تبادلي marginal utility of X times the price of Y equals marginal utility of Y times the price of X, marginal utility of Y over times the price of X. قسم هذا على هذا بصير انه marginal utility of X over marginal utility of Y equals the price of X over price of Y. This is the first order condition. And this is the marginal rate of substitution. راح نشوفه كمان شوي في البادجت لاين فورمولا. تمام؟ طيب. This is the first order condition. We have the second order condition, which is spending all of his income to, or allocates all of his income to buy two goods, X and Y, ice cream and cookies. So the second order condition, when income, all of his income is allocated among two products, ice cream and cookies. Price of X, ice cream, times the quantity purchased of X plus price of Y, price of cookies, times the quantity purchased of cookies. Okay? So this is for Ben here. And we will apply these two conditions and determine the optimality of a private goods provision. Okay? Here, we have to calculate the marginal utility of X and the marginal utility of Y, and we will check the first order condition, which is the marginal utility of X and the price of X equals marginal utility of Y over the price of Y. So how much is the marginal utility of X? MUX equals delta TUX over delta or change in the quantity of X. So I will apply or check the first order condition, which is the marginal utility of X over the price of X equals the marginal utility of Y over price of Y. So we have to calculate the marginal utility of X. The marginal utility of X formula equals the change in total utility of X over the change in the quantity consumed of X. Under this formula, or under this example, the income here is given. Income equals 45. قديش قلنا؟ Yes, income is 45. Price of X is given equal 5. Price of Y equals تمام. Let's calculate the marginal utility of x. Here's the marginal utility of x. 40 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. 40 minus 0, 40 over 1 minus 0, 1. 40 over 1, 40. 75 minus 30 over 2 minus 1, 35. هذا قديش؟ 30 25 and then let's fill it. Okay, dash 40 non-block 75 minus 40 35 and 30 25 20 15 and then 10 then 5. Okay, let's calculate the marginal utility of y. MUy, the change in total utility of y over 50 على 1 50. Yes. 0 sorry 50 40 120 minus 90 over 3 minus 2 equals 30. Yes. 30. Then 20. Then 10. 15. Okay. 10. 5. 0. Okay. To apply the first order condition, which means we have to calculate the marginal utility of x. We will check the first order condition, which is the marginal utility of x over price of x equals MUy over PY. So we have to calculate MUx over PX and the marginal utility of y over PY. Here, MUx over PX. How much is MUx here? This is 0 here. 40 over 5. 8. Sorry? خلينا نطبق هذا وبنرجع بنشوف الثاني. ماشي؟ Okay. Oh, the same result. 40 over 5, 8, 7, 30 over 5, 6. Yes? Who calculated? 5, yes. نعبيهم هيك. والاكسل شيت اسهل لنا. على طول بس بالهاي انقلوا اكسل شيت. تمام، خلينا بدنا انقله كله اكسل شيت. الجهاز اكيد في اكسل شيت ولا لا؟ هاي all programs Microsoft Office. هيو تمام. MUx here, it's a clear thing. MUx over PX, so الفورمula equals MUx here over 5. 8 نسحب الباقي الكولوم. مظبوط. And then we have to calculate MUy over py 0 تمام equals MUY 50 over how much is the price of Y? 10. تمام وين بيتساووا هدول؟ نمسك هذا هيك هاي 5 هان في 5 يس اذا هذا هيك بدنا نعمل له تفضيل هذا عندها هيك تمام something else 4 في 4 yes 4 4 another color ايه مش مبينه حط فاتح okay 3 is there 3 yes Two, yes. One. تمام. This is so the first order condition has been met in 5 cases or 4 cases at 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Now we will check the second order condition. طب لحظة نجرب انه الفيرست اوردر كونديشن صار بالام يو اكس اوفر بي ام يو واي equals price of x over price of y. هل في الفايف كيسز صار ولا لا؟ نشوف. Okay, so the first order condition here mux or mux over muy as well equals the price of x over price of y. Mux over muy for the first case at 5 here. 5 and 5. Mux over muy. Mux here is a 25 and muy 50. 25 at 5 here. 25 over 50 equals the price of x 5 over 10. It's correct. Half equals half. At 4 here. 1 4. Mux, where is it? Mux over muy. 20 over 40 equals half. At 3, 15 over 30. At 2, 10 equals over 20. It's always half here. تمام? So this is the first order condition, which is represented here in this analysis. أيوة إذا بتلاحظوا في البرزنتيشن هذا المحتوى بالسلايدز طلعوا لي هاي شايفين the condition here mu for ice cream x for bin over the marginal utility of cookies for bin equals the price of X over the price of Y. تمام؟ هذا شو عبارة عن شو؟ marginal rate of substitution of X compared to Y or for Y for B. تمام؟ The same as for Jerry here. The marginal utility of ice cream or X for Jerry over marginal utility of cookies for Jerry equals the price of X over the price of Y. This is the marginal rate of substitution for Jerry. Okay? X for Y. تمام? The second order condition, I will come back quickly here to the table. The second order condition, when I equals 45, we will apply the second order condition to determine which is the optimal point or the optimal provision for the private goods here. As we mentioned that the second condition or the second order condition, I equals price of X times QX plus the price of Y times QY. This side must equal this side. The income here is 45 must equal the price of X is 5 times QX plus price of Y 10 times QY. Which, how much is the quantity of X and the quantity of Y that achieve or obtain this or perform this condition. نشوف. نجرب عند الخمسة at 5. 45 must equal 5 times how much is the quantity of X here? Whereas here is the quantity of X, MUX over price of X. This represents QX. QX is 4. Plus 10 times quantity of Y here at 5, 1. Is it achieve the first or this side equals this side? I don't know. 45 must equal 20 plus 10 doesn't equal. So we have to check the another case. We have to check the another case. At 4 here, 4 and 4. 4, it's under the marginal utility of X over price of X. So the quantity of X is 5, and 4 here, the quantity of Y equals 2. So a quantity of X is 5, and the quantity of Y equals 2. Let's apply here. So at 4, 45 must equal 5 times, how much is it at 4 here? 5. مظبوط? Plus 10 is constant in the formula, and the quantity of Y at 4 equals 2. So 45 must equal 25 plus 20. Yes. So 45 equals 25 plus 20 equals 45. That's it. So the quantity of X must equal 5, and the quantity of Y must equal 2. These quantities maximizes the total utility. Otherwise not. بس يعطيكم العافية.